Hello, Bingies. Welcome to BingeWorthy, part of the Geekish Network. We binge a show to let you know if you should. I'm Rakai Steed, Nuke from the Ville. Hello, Governor. And I'm your host for this wonderful evening, and I'm joined by my two esteemed guests. First of all, Miss Catherine, say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone, live from Memphis, specifically at Bevo. There's a full-size ship behind me, so yeah.
And also, my ace, my partner, Mr. Centel with the Intel. Say hello to the people.
Yo, my man said esteemed guest. I felt like Donkey when he was like, I'm a noble steed. I'm a noble steed.
But that's funny because I actually am a steed. So all right. Well, if you're an audience member, feel free to communicate with us. We are live right now on YouTube and Twitch. But even if you don't catch us live, make sure that you drop something in the comment and communicate with us. We would love to engage with you. Tonight, we're going to let you know if you should watch The Last of Us Season 2 on HBO Max. Now, Season 2 of The Last of Us is based on the game The Last of Us Part 2. Focuses on Ellie and Joel's strained relationship and the consequences of Joel's actions in the first season. The story centers around Abby, a character seeking revenge for her father's death at the Firefly Hospital in Salt Lake City, and the escalated conflict between her and Ellie. Ellie and Dina decide to leave Jackson, Wyoming to confront Abby and seek justice for her perceived wrongs. Now, Rodney, who is our technical producer, one of the greatest in the land, he's going to post our cast members' ratings for HBO Max's The Last of Us Season 2. Now, while Rodney posts the ratings, I want to let you know that we rate the show at the beginning, and then we also rate it again at the end, just to see if anyone's had a change of heart during our discussion of the night. So, Rodney, what do we come up with? All right, it looks like we had 2 full meals and a binge-worthy. So it's a 4, 4, and a 5, 12. All right, so we are basically a little bit above a full meal. So I'm gonna start with Centel. You gave it a binge-worthy. You want to explain your rating, sir?
Yeah, you know what? I gotta be candid on this one, and frank. In my heart of hearts, I do believe it is a full meal. However, the level of hate that this show has been receiving makes me have to push it a step further. There's a performance that's given by Bella Ramsey that is not getting the respect it deserves because people are small and simple. And they've gone so far to absolutely crush this poor young woman because she doesn't fit a certain style or physique or whatever they've got going on in their head regarding this character of Ellie. The show is good. It's very good. Yes, it's got some things here and there that may not necessarily make it a perfect 10, but the public discourse regarding something like that is sickening. It's disgusting, and it makes me just it makes me want to grab fandom as a whole and just choke the shit out of it. This is a good show. Bella Ramsey gives an excellent performance, and you should see this if you are a fan of the game. Even if you're not a fan of the game, if you just like survive the horror, survival type projects, this is in your wheelhouse. You should give it your time.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Excellent. Catherine, what about your rating, ma'am?
I definitely agree. Like, I don't understand the hate around this. Like, I actually just watched another video discussing the hate. I'm like, that's so weird, but I enjoyed it. I was entertained. It wasn't like 100% perfect. I still think the first season was better, but overall, there were some really great performances and great sequences. But yeah.
Okay. I gave it a full meal. And I was actually leaning a little bit towards a mini meal. But I was like, no, let me check myself and what I thought of the season. And the season was solid. I think the first season was better. However, part of that reasoning may be with me and not with the show itself. The first season followed the first game. Me and my oldest son, I played the first game. I was locked in. So when they showed stuff on screen, I saw it beat for beat, painting for painting, scene for scene. I was like, I know that from the game. Like, yes, that's beautiful. I don't have that same frame of reference with the second game. I saw parts of it, fell asleep during parts of it because my oldest son was playing. So there was several parts of the game that I missed. On top of the fact that the second game, the way that they're setting this up, they broke it into season 2, and they're now saying that they possibly won't even be able to wrap it up in season 3, and they're hoping to get one more seasons for a 4-season The Last of Us to encompass both games.
Mhm.
I think that's where this first 7 episodes was a little bit lacking for me, because we're doing a whole lot of setting up for things to come. And outside of a few really, really just pivotal moving scenes,
Okay.
there was not a lot going on. And I think that's where this season dragged. However, Bella Ramsey was amazing.
Mhm.
Pedro Pascal. He was Pedro Pascal. Um, I think a few people that we'll talk about in a few minutes that showed up in season 2 have absolutely showed up and showed out, and we're going to talk about them. I don't want to get into it, but we're going to get into those in just a few minutes. My first question for both of you: since this is season 2 and we looked at how they built out the world of The Last of Us in season 1, do we feel like season 2 has built on that? Have they done any better with that? And what do we think about this season in particular, the character development and the show's balance of the plot? And either one of you can jump in there and answer.
I think as someone, so I only played a little bit of the first game. I didn't even finish the first game.
Okay.
And I didn't play the second one, but I've seen like some clips and stuff. There were some things that happened in this season that wish there was more elaboration, but I did understand for the most part what was happening, but it just felt like there were some elements where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't fully either remember because it feels like the first season was a while ago. Or like it kind of touched on some things, but I felt like there were some very strong characters. Like I really liked the actress that played as Abby. I thought she did a really great job. Um, I felt like it did go into interesting areas that I was curious about, like certain factions and things. Um, I guess for me, it was like the time jumping that kind of I got a little confused and maybe just misread some of the time jump titles. Like I thought when it started, it said 5 years earlier. So I was like, oh, okay. And I got a little confused there. Um, but I think for me, the characters are probably the strongest part of this season.
Okay.
Okay. I as far as the growth of the world, I think it's great. Because I've played the game and I kind of know what the direction they're gonna go with when they do tell Abby's tale. It makes me excited because the setup is really good. I think they hit the tones that I think are important, and that is we've seen Ellie as this almost a damsel in distress that's being held up by Joel in order to get her to safety. And in the second game, she becomes her own person, and we get to get a deep dive as to who that person is, and we get to see what revenge looks like with somebody and how it can twist and turn. It's not an Anakin tale, but it's similar in a sense that you take this thing that not pure, but you twist it and you warp it into something else. And I thought they did a really good job. Well, Bella Ramsey specifically did a really good job of twisting and turning Ellie's character into something else. So that gives us a whole new way of looking at just this world as a whole, because we're seeing a lot of this through her eyes. Now, like I said, the flip side, when we get a chance to see it through Bella,
Through Abby.
When we get a chance to see it through Abby, it's going to give you a different perspective, and that's what the setup is for. But you can see with the writing on the wall, and I'm happy the way that they're doing it. But I love the flip side of Ellie's coin, and that is Dina. I thought that actress did a really good job of bringing something different to kind of help balance Ellie out. So those two in this weird, twisted Frodo and Sam take the ring to the tower. Instead of them taking the ring to Mount Mordor, they're taking their bullets over to Seattle, to drop them off in somebody else. So that is I like that world, and it feels dark. It's raining, it's wet. There's all these other things on the side that's trying to stop them from getting to their destination. And it's a twisted and dark destination that they have to go to, where they have got a lot of consequences for their actions. I loved that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I think that as far as world building, what I expect to see and what I'm seeing, I'm loving what is presenting. And I think maybe the only gripe that maybe I have about the world building in here is that I didn't see enough um of the infected
Yeah.
in this
I
season.
agree.
I
Yeah.
think that when we saw them, they were great. We got some new infected in the mix. They mixed in the stalkers this time, which are just downright terrifying. Um, no bloaters, barely any clickers, but we had some other infected, and we had some things going on, and there were some absolutely amazing scenes when we had some infected. I just don't think that there were enough. And maybe it was part of them trying to focus more on the world itself and the people to get us to really care about the people. So when something happened to them, we cared. It worked to a degree. I thought the character development was really, really good this season. I thought what they did with Ellie was fantastic because I know Cinta had a great point where in the first season she was a damsel in distress and a package that had to be delivered, to deliver us all or whatever. And in this season, she became her own person. But in becoming her own person, we got to ride along with her through all of her ups. And damn it, did she have some downs? My God, if there was ever one character that frustrated the piss out of me, it is that damn Ellie. I just
Yeah.
wanted to go on screen and slap the shit out of her. My God, I was But that is a testament to how well Bella Ramsey played this part. And that's what I understand. She was a teenager. She was, what I'm saying, we forget it's a teenager. Hell, listen, if that's what it, I'll go in the other room and slap shit out of my grown ass son right now. Is teenage thinking he's grown ass. He's 17, and damn it, I just look at Ellie and I'm like, I know that attitude. It's that teenage dumbass. I get it, you know. So for that, I appreciated that because they showed a lot of things of her, and I do agree with you, Catherine. I thought Abby being introduced. I thought Abby was great. And I know there's a lot of vitriol on the internet that they didn't like Caitlin Deaver to play a part because they think that in the game, Abby is basically, she's in the WWE. She's a damn muscle mommy. And listen, I thought the use of Caitlin Deaver, she was very strong as Abby, and she brought certain things to the character. Like in the game, it's different because you play as the character, and there's certain things that you have to do and have to accomplish as that character. The way she played it, it's not like she was, saying pudgy and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like she played it very well. And by the time we got to the end of season 2, uh, you can't tell me that's not Abby. That's damn Abby.
Yeah.
So and then there's another character that we'll talk about in just a second that they brought into season 2. Wasn't on screen much, but when he got on screen, he commanded the damn screen. And I already know that Trey gonna bring him out. I already know Centel gonna bring him out because it's one of our favorite actors. So I will go right into this. Standout performances that truly elevated this show this season. All right, come on, Trey. Come on, both barrels.
You already know, you're my man Jesse, man. You already know how I feel, man. Jesse, to me, is when he is on screen, it means something. He is the guy that you would charge into the fray with. He's going to do whatever it takes in order to fulfill the need of the community. He's a human being. First off, that's another thing. He's not just this stuffy, stiff guy. And he's you could tell that there was a place where he was like maybe this fun-loving person who was probably just a fun teenager to go out, drink, have fun, or whatever it is. But then he got put in a position where he had to be all grown up, and he took it. He took the burden of leadership and threw it on his back. He took it through losing his girl, somebody that he did love, adores, and still did, lost her. he took it through the loss of a pivotal community member in Joel, and became a councilman and had to make a difficult decision to vote against a friend. He took it when it came to go and get Ellie when she's out acting a damn fool, and he showed up every single time. And I'm like, Jesse, you damn right, I would follow you, brother. I would,
And in case y'all don't know, Jesse in real life, his name is Young Mazzino. Yes,
yeah,
so.
yeah. That actor, Young Mazzino, just like you believe him. When he has his quiet moments, you believe him. When he's stern, when he's like we need to get this thing done, you believe him. It was great, and he was a character that I wasn't expected to be as excited to see every time he stepped on.
Every time he scolded Ellie, I was like, yes, get in that ass. He might be younger than Ellie. He might be a year older than her or whatever. They're probably about the same age or so. And he scolded her like she was a child and he was a grown-up. And you are absolutely right. I loved everything that we got out of Jesse this season.
Wasn't the actor who played as Jesse in like a big Netflix show where there was conflict between two characters? And I feel like I've seen him in something and it's gonna kill me. Like I meant to look him up, but it's like Netflix.
Yeah, he was in Beef. If I remember
Beef.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay.
He was in Beef?
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Beef, you should watch.
Wait, was he wasn't what's the name's husband, was he?
No, he was the one who slept with the person's.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn, that was him. I missed it. I'm usually pretty good at that. Well, I'll be damned. That was him. Beef was one of those things, though. After I watched that, I tried to wipe that from my mind. I was like, my God, what did I just watch?
It's just a pure chaos.
And what was that other one you had me watch? Swarm? That was another one. I was like, hell
They
no.
both came out right around the same time, too. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I was like, my God. Yeah, I got to get all this out of my head. Anybody else that really stood out for you, Catherine?
I guess for me, it's still like Abby. I know she didn't have a lot of screen time, but I just really resonated with her in a way. She had a lot of strength. Like I know people were talking about her physique, but I felt like her strength carried over in her performance. I don't know, she just I felt like she performed really well in the show. Like Abby, and I know of course we mentioned Bella Ramsey, and even there's elements of Pedro Pascal's performance I thought were strong. And the actor who played as Arnold in Westworld. What is that? He's a famous actor.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey's just nasty with it. Go ahead. I'm gonna cut you off. Continue.
Oh no, that's all. I kept it pretty short.
You know what though? Can I say something? I was actually one of those people that was curious how they were going to do Abby since she didn't have the physique. But let me explain myself. Me and Rakai had a conversation about it. There's a show that we watch called Reacher, and Reacher, the character of Reacher is this big dude that's supposed to be like 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", 260 pounds of 5% body fat. And he's an imposing figure. His physicality is a part of who his character is. And there was a movie that Tom Cruise did. Yeah.
Two of them.
Tom Cruise did the movie where he played Reacher, and Tom Cruise is like 5'5", 130 pounds soaking wet. When you lose the physicality of that character, something is lost, right? And Tom Cruise couldn't pull it off. Wasn't a terrible movie, but it's like this just ain't the same. Well, the thing about Abby in the game is that there's a physicality, the way that she kind of can impose herself upon situations, upon her friends when it comes to making decisions. When she's like the ideal soldier. There's this thing of how she carries herself. So I was concerned. I'm like, well, if that's not there, are we going to run into the Reacher thing again? But the actress Caitlin Dever did such a good job, but she had a different way of imposing her will and imposing herself on her environment that didn't require the physicality, the look of the physicality. So I was really happy that she was able to pull that off. But I do have to admit, I was one of the people that doubted in the beginning.
See, and I didn't have a dog in that fight. Like I said, I didn't play many parts of the game or the second game. I remember Abby from the second game, but since I didn't play those parts, I was like, okay, she looks a little bit different. She's not as muscular and not ready to hold up the, women's intercontinental belt. I said, okay, cool. But the one thing I will say is uh that Caitlin Deaver actually made me believe the way that she imposed, like she was punking her damn friends and stuff, and they was like, we want you to stop, and maybe we shouldn't, shut up, I'll slap you. Like I was like, oh, I was like, this little girl is she's brolic, ain't she? Like, oh my. So she made me uh believe in who she was. But actually, that wasn't one of the ones I was gonna say, but great one.
Yeah.
I have three. I'm going to be really short. One you already brought up, Jeffrey Wright, who is a phenomenal actor. Look up his resume. If you don't know who Jeffrey Wright is, do you just watch cartoons all day? I don't know what you're doing. Jeffrey Wright. Listen, first time I saw Jeffrey Wright was in a throwaway movie, but you can't throw it away because it got Samuel L. Jackson in a movie called Shaft, and he was Peoples Hernandez.
Ooh, Peoples.
And I was like, this dude is great. Like he just jumped off the screen, but then you saw him in Westworld and you've seen him in so many other things. He even was when he Commissioner, you know what I'm saying, Gordon in the Batman or whatever, like, and he's almost like he can play damn near any part. And him playing a former federal soldier who switched over to the Wolves, to Washington Liberation Front, he has a scene where he talks about pots and pans that is so damn amazing. Listen, I looked up them pots and pans. I went to Google and looked them shits up just based on that scene. I was like, damn, I cannot afford a goddamn saucepan. Jesus, people use these. This must be a 5-star restaurant or something. But the way he talked about him and the way, you know what I'm saying, like that whole scene, which was a torture scene, was absolutely just riveting. Fantastic.
I thought
He's
he was
not on
going.
screen much. He's not on screen much, but when he is, man, he has gravitas.
I thought he was going crazy there. I'm like, who is he talking to?
Yeah.
But it was really powerful. Yeah.
It was, and then you see the dude. He's like, "Oh, wow, that escalated quickly."
Yeah.
I think the hot, meaning her stars on the rise, not that she's great looking, even though she is nice looking. Isabella Merced, who played Dina, she's in a whole lot of stuff, including she is Hawk Girl in the new Superman movie that's coming out. Like she is everywhere right now. Her playing of Dina, where she had a very forceful but quiet presence, and to be a positive foil to Ellie, and to always be the one who was able to pull her back and talk her dumbass off the ledge. She was actually really, really great in this. And it's hard sometimes because since she's a supporting actress, I don't think that she, kind of the same way where Jesse Young Mazzino showed up every time he came on screen. Yeah. Dina had that kind of presence too. She was a very calming, very steady presence. And it's almost like you fear for Ellie because you're like, oh, she's reckless. She about to do some dumb shit. But then he's like, it's not going to be that bad because at least Dina's there.
Because at least
Dina's there. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the other one, again, kind of like Jeffrey Wright, an actress who, check her resume. Catherine O'Hara as Gail, the town psychologist.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yes, good call. Good call. Yeah.
Listen, if you don't know Catherine O'Hara, I mean, she's been in so many things. We just got through talking about one. She's Patty in The Studio. Apple Plus is The Studio.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She was the mother, I forget her name, on one of my favorite sitcoms, situation comedy shows of all time called Schitt's Creek. Catherine O'Hara has a very long resume, and she is a goated actress.
And Home Alone.
And Yes, and she's the mother in Home
Right.
Alone.
Oh my
She is
God,
the
I
most
forgot she's the
irresponsible
mom.
mother on the face of the
Yeah.
planet.
Have
How
you seen
many
that
times she
commercial?
lose that little boy?
Yeah.
You know,
You-
here's the thing about her character. You know, and people have qualms about what's in the games and what's not in the games. Her character Gail is not in the game at all.
Huh.
It's
Interesting.
not in the game at all. But the way that she played this part, I can't imagine her not being in it. Um,
I know.
her calm, whacked out demeanor, you know, is like it's almost like you could see her screaming on the inside. I'm going crazy, but I'm surrounded by all these crazy people around me who need my help. And she said, you know, I get by with, you know, plenty of weed and alcohol and, you know, whatever. It was like she was one of the realest characters in the entire show. And I just loved everything about her. Even though she had a very deep session early in the season with Joel about why she couldn't stand his monkey ass. However, she was still gonna help him. And I was like, I can't say enough about her.
She's got a commercial with William Dafoe where they're playing pickleball.
Oh, pickleball. Were they playing pickleball?
Yeah, watch the long one. There's a real short one that doesn't do it justice. If you get a
Mhm.
chance, YouTube the long one. It is hilarious.
They're
'cause
playing pickleball for like a beer, right?
Yeah, for like Michelob or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like ultra.
Yeah,
light
some
or-
blue
yeah.
ultra or something. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
hilarious. William Dafoe is anyway. I'm gonna get off the path. Go ahead, guy.
That's all right. I don't usually ask this question, but I'm gonna ask this this time.
Okay.
Recurring themes or motifs that added depth to the particular narrative, especially for all of the hate that the characters, the world building, the plot, everything that the show is getting in season 2. Do you think there are some recurring themes or motifs that add to the depth of the narrative that the showrunners are trying to tell us?
Violence fuels violence. Revenge cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, you beat.
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
thought
say
about
hurt
that too.
people hurt
Like,
people. Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing with Abby and Ellie, and I'm trying to balance my words so that I don't. I know that we try to do a spoiler-free show, and it's one of those things like, really, you ain't played the game, you ain't watched this show by now. Like, come on, Brad. But I get it. We gonna come in light. The conflict between Ellie and Abby is almost one of those things like, if you're practical, you can stand back and look at both sides and like they both have a point. They both have an axe to grind. But at what point does the cycle end? At what point does, you know, I mean, we can go tit for tat forever, you know, and if you look at what Ellie has done to affect Abby, you look at what Abby has done to affect Ellie. They both justified, but all the, you know, at some point, everybody gonna be dead because these two are fighting. And you know, the little mushroom people gonna be out here just unabated, just out here doing the thriller dance because these two is fighting their ass off. Like, it just, at what point is enough enough? And I thought they did a really good job of showing us why both of them are right and why both of them are wrong.
I feel like
That's
they
just
could have been like really good friends if it weren't for like death and violence and such like that. They're so similar in ways.
You know, I've said before that when you watch The Walking Dead, we watch Rick Grimes and his people, and you say, okay, they're the good guys, they're the protagonists, we watch them. But it very easily could have been that we started the whole show by watching Negan and his people. And if you see the stuff that Rick Grimes and them did to them, kind of unprovoked, unsolicited, you could have been like, oh no, they're the bad guys. And it really is a matter of perspective. If we started this whole show watching Abby and her people, and then you see when Ellie and Joel show up in Salt Lake City, this is a whole different show, because you're gonna be like, oh no, they the bad guys. Get them, girl. You get them. They got to get this lick back. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Trey. I think I cut you off, sir.
No, it's all good. For me, it feels like Moby Dick. It's two people trying to chase Ahab. It's two folks chasing the whale. And that one line, I hear it all the time, and it was when he said, "If his chest had been a cannon, he would have shot his heart upon it." That is the crux of both of these characters when it comes to getting their lick back, and destruction follows as a result of it.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. That's actually a good, putting out a good literary reference. We know that we know that this show is destined already. Season 3 greenlit, I believe. So season 3 is coming. They are trying to make sure that the ratings and stuff meet out so that we get a season 4. The ratings for season 2 tanked compared to season 1. They weren't terrible, so they weren't where you say the show's a flop. I mean, it was still big, but in terms of, weekly, nightly viewing or whatever, it was a huge drop off from season 1. Do we think they'll be able to stretch it out to a season 4? And what, I guess really this question is more for you, Trey. What do we want to see in season 3? Because we know it's coming. So what do we want to see that we can be like, yes, this show redeemed itself? Or, you take that, haters, which they're probably, the haters gonna hate. That's what they do. So
I think it's all going to depend on Caitlin Dever. I think the entire series is going to have to be on her back, because Bella's given all she can, and there's not too much more you can squeeze blood from a rock on what she's given to this character. I think once she passes the baton over and we get a chance to see Abby's backstory, and depending on how well she shows up is what's going to determine, its future, because they're two sides of the same coin, and we've got a chance to see Ellie's side of it. So Abby has to over deliver. She has to, like Caitlin has to deliver.
Okay. Catherine, anything from you?
I'm really curious to see more of Abby's story. Like, I think that actress who plays her is really strong. So if it focuses on there, I feel like it could have a strong season. But I agree, like if season 3 doesn't land, I don't see it extending to another season. Just because like so much is riding on season 3. And I'm also worried, like, just when I was watching this season, it felt like there were some elements that were stretched thinner. So I'm hoping they don't stretch the episodes too thin and just add what I feel like sometimes there were some filler episodes that just felt like didn't need to be there the whole time. But I'm hoping like they pace themselves better with the next season, and if they get to the 4th season and the following season, it doesn't feel like they're trying to stretch out as much as they can.
Yeah, I think 7 episodes was a strange number of episodes for me. I think that they could have told the story that they wanted this season in 6 episodes. I mean, they could have possibly done less, but I think, all the shows being around an hour, a little bit over an hour, I think they could have pulled some back from some of the episodes and told us a really tight, good story in 6 episodes. I am with you. I don't want them to stretch things out just so we can say, hey, we want another season. If they don't get another season, can they tell us a competent story and we get to the end of season 3 and they say, okay, well, we're not doing a season 4. And we'd be like, okay, well, we felt like we got the whole story, or I don't know. I do agree. Everything hinges on Abby. I think so. Centel has a YouTube channel that's simply his name, Centel. So make sure you go find it. And we do reactions. And I did a reaction with him to every episode of The Last of Us. And we had a discussion on one of those that, because he, like he said, he was one of those people concerned about, could Caitlin Dever be Abby? And I didn't have that concern because I didn't know. So I just looked at her performance simply for what it was. And I was like, well, shit, she was menacing. She was great. But I think what is a cool dynamic and what I hope that they show and don't just give us a, a montage in season 2 is the Ellie, the Abby who was left at the end of Salt Lake City after everyone got killed in the Firefly Hospital to where she showed up in Jackson 5 years later. What the hell happened in this 5 years? Because not only that, when they posseed up at the end, 5 years earlier, right after everybody got killed in the Firefly Hospital, they start doing some intel. We're like, nope, we heard that his name is Joel. He's handsome, and he's a bad mama jamma. He came in here solo dolo and rocked this whole place. That is a man, you know what I'm saying? Like his name rang out in the wilderness streets. Ain't no cell phones, ain't no, none of that. Ain't no internet where you go look him up, see him on America's Most Wanted. His name rang out in the wilderness streets. That is a man not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
So what kind of Navy SEAL training did Abby go into to show up 5 years later and like, who wants some Hollywood coal? Like, she was not messing around. She came full business. She, and she came in, and not only about Joe, but if we die, we die. Listen, I was like, what happened to her? If that's what they're gonna show us in season 3, I want to see some of that. And they did a very good episode, episode 6 maybe, where they did kind of a flashback and they showed us how the rift between Ellie and Joel widened over the 5 years since Salt Lake City to current time. If they could do at least an episode like that to show us, don't tell us, show us what happened to Abby in those 5 years, I will love that. And then on top of, there is a lot going on in Seattle right now. So it's not all, sunshine and rainbows for Ellie and Dina and Tommy and Jesse.
I think in order for them to find success, either there was something magical about the first season, and that magic was found specifically in one episode and maybe a little bit in 2. The one that is specifically is there was a story about a gay couple named Bill and Frank.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
which is not in the game.
It was so heartfelt, so a little bit off the beaten path. It added some levity to the chaos, right? It showed that the show had heart and a soul. And there was another one that they did with Henry and Sam as well, with the two brothers. It was heart-wrenching, but it made these people feel a little bit closer to home with dealing with that type of loss. I don't think season 2 had an episode definitely have an episode like Bill and Frank with that type of thing. And not really a whole lot with Henry and Sam either. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a moment when Ellie with Ellie and
Dina.
No, not Dina. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name.
Ellie and Joel.
Joel, excuse me. There's a great episode with that. It does a decent job. It's very close to the game, and if you play the game, you will recognize it. But it doesn't hit like Bill and Frank. And I think Bill and Frank was one of the things that took people that didn't watch the game and made them curious, because so many people were talking about it. Like, why is everybody talking about this thing? I think they need something.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, they need something like that in season 3. Something that can have us connect. Because right now, it's a lot of just anger. The revenge thing is good and it's cool, but if you're going to get more people to come, you got to have a little bit more than just that side.
That episode in season 1 too, why can I ever remember his name? The actor who was on Community or Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
or
I know
what
you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, like with the mustache.
Bill or Frank. Yeah.
Yeah, from We Are the Millers. That dude, he is a fantastic character actor like that. And so Bill and Frank are in the first game. and there's a lot of things that alludes to their relationship, but they don't really fully go into it. And this episode really went into it. They said, you know what, let's take this small piece out of the game and let's build it out. And it was fantastically done. It was wonderfully acted, and it added some real heart. Now Henry and Sam are in the game, and that stayed closer to what is in the first game, and it only took little steps off the beaten path, but it was closer to what was in the game. That added a little bit of heart, and like you said, nothing did that in this season. The only thing that came close was the that one the moments that showed the 5-year gap between Joel and Ellie and how their rift kept widening. That was the only thing that was close, but it wasn't really close.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that point altogether. All right. We have had a chance to really discuss this thing. And listen, y'all don't know how hard we have tried to make sure that we kept this a spoiler free. Because if we had spoiled this, there's so much more that we could have said, but we didn't, because we really want you to listen to what the Geekish Network and BingeWorthy have to say and see if this 7 episodes, so it's about 7 hours of your life, do you have that kind of time to put into a show that maybe you should add to your repertoire? When we first told you, we told you that this at the beginning of the show, we told you that this show is certified as a full meal. We're going to re-rate it again. So, and I'm going to start with our highest rater, Mr. Centel. He gave it a binge-worthy at first. What do you say this time, sir?
You know what? I am gonna come down. You know what it is? It's like when you're about to get in a fight, you just come out swinging because you're mad. And I was like, F them, I'm giving them binge-worthy. I'm gonna push back. It's not, if I sit here and I'm being 100, I'll keep it 100. It's not binge-worthy. I just have to feel, so I gotta push back against the silly reasons of why you may not like it. There's reasons why you shouldn't like it, but the silly reasons are infuriating. It's still good though. It's still a full meal. I'm not gonna drop down 2 spots. I'll drop down 1. I'll drop down 1 to a full meal, and I still recommend that if you're a fan of the game, then you should watch this.
Okay. I'm gonna go next, and I seriously consider giving this a mini meal, being at a 3. But once I get to weighing everything out, as much better as season 1 was, I still think that this was a solid show. It was solid. And it's a lot closer to a low 4 than it is a high 3. So I'm going to stay at full meal. And Miss Catherine.
I'm also gonna stay at a full meal. Like I really like some of the characters in this season, as well as there are certain sequences. So I've not played the second game, but I did watch some clips just out of curiosity to compare. And there were certain decisions and like even added characters, as mentioned before, that I felt like were really strong. But it is not perfect. I do think there's pacing issues. I do feel like it's a bit stretched, a bit too thin. But I really like Abby, and I'm excited to see the next season and what that is. Like, as someone who didn't play the games, I think The Last of Us is a great show to watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And you guys heard it here first. The Geekish Network and BingeWorthy find that HBO Max's The Last of Us Season 2 is certified as a full meal. We gave it a 4 out of 5. So that means that you should absolutely find the time somewhere in your schedule to binge this. This is a pretty good show. You know, we said that we did a review of season 1, and season 1 was phenomenal. Season 2 is pretty good as well. So at this time, we are going to, I want to make sure that I give love and give thanks. So our esteemed Triple OG, our founder, Mr. Charles Babb, is not with us tonight. Our other co-hosts and Miss Courtney Scott Wright, Mr. Johnny Randolph, even Allison De La Cruz are not with us tonight. However, we did have with us tonight the greatest technical producer in the land, Mr. Rodney Cajudo. And we couldn't have done any of this without the help of Crystal Moon and Digital Click and everything they're doing at Digital Click. They provided our graphics, they provided our stuff for the web and our marketing. So if you ever have any needs and like stuff like that to help build up your content creation, your web presence, make sure that you reach out to Digital Click. You can find them in the descriptions. We will be back next week to cover a show that I don't want to give it away how I feel about it, but I'm just going to say it's a Guy Ritchie show on Paramount Plus, little show that you may not have heard of called Mobland. We're going to be back to talk about that next week. So with that being said, we're out of here. Good night, y'all.
Goodbye from Memphis. Yeah.